So before we start this, when you're ready, I need you to do a loud one clap.
Okay.
Because this one clap ties my audio and my video, syncs it all together.
Gotcha.
Some audio gurus told me that. This sounds cheesy, but
I actually have heard of this before.
yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember where. I might have did something that I had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Or I've just seen it. One of the two.
Okay.
So.
So whenever you're ready.
Is that clap good enough? There we go.
I like it, man. Thank you. Welcome back to Defining Moments Podcast. My name is Wong Lam, and today in the house we have Farrell from the Oklahoma City Energy, man. Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
Oh, man. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing brilliant.
Yeah?
How are you?
Great, man. Mom and dad, family, sister doing all right?
Everybody's doing well. Everybody's healthy and happy, and that I know of anyway, unless they're not telling me, and so I can only assume that no news is good news, so.
That's what they say.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I think everybody's doing pretty good. So.
A few months ago, let's push this back all the way to, I believe it's October. And I've been following you on Twitter for a little over a year now. And I saw a post. The Energy had tied a match here at Taft Stadium, the last match of the last season.
Yeah, it was Sacramento, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next morning, you guys found out that you've been eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Your tweet, and I'm going to paraphrase the tweet, it's along the lines of, well, we've been eliminated from the playoffs. However, the lads are still out here smashing it at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I read that tweet. I was like, man, that's awesome. I resonate with that because I feel like just because you're not getting into the playoffs or just that level, that doesn't mean you stop the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on why did you fire that off so early in the morning?
I think a lot of it has to do with the culture and philosophy of the staff. Obviously we had a difficult start to last season as a club, and I want to say maybe halfway through the year, I don't want to say realize or recognize or anything like that, but in soccer, what I found out and what I've learned this year is that it's an 18-month season. So come halfway, you're already planning for the following season.
Yeah.
So I think in order to kind of push the whole, positive energy and positive vibe is that, nothing changed. Every team, no matter whether you're winning or you're losing, it's what's coming next. What are we preparing for now? Because the challenge now changes. So, the challenge we had been eliminated, and now the new challenge was, okay, how can we get ready for next season again? Mm-hmm. That's going to be the big one. But I also think, maybe potentially being eliminated from playoffs. There's other teams or clubs that, might just start mailing it in and, we only have 3 matches left and that sort. But it was not the case with us. We were back at the training center at 7 a.m. getting ready for the day. Nothing changed. It was like we already knew at the end of the day that we were preparing anyway for the next challenge, and which was the next match. And then you're essentially setting the tone of going into the next season already. So it was, I think it was more of a shout out to those guys, the coaching staff and Ian and who's the equipment manager, and just saying it's brilliant to see that it didn't end. So it was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really enjoyed that tweet. And so I don't know if you keep up with American football, NFL. The New England Patriots coach Belichick was interviewed after a Super Bowl he won a few years ago, and he's like, hey, how did the report asked him how it felt? He's like, it feels good, but I feel like we're behind. And the reporter's like, what do you mean? He's like, because other teams have already prepared for next season, and we're sitting here, we just won the Super Bowl, so we're behind 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
That's the exact mentality that you just stated. So I was like, man, we got a little Belichick here.
Well, we're all Belichicks then, if that's the case. We're all their own people. But, I mean, the other one with Bill Belichick, I think there was they were preparing for the Super Bowl, and he was interviewed, what are you looking forward to the most? And he just goes, I'm looking forward to a good practice today.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
It's just obviously his success speaks for itself, And that was actually, weirdly enough, that's something I remember us chatting about, where being eliminated from the playoff part of the season we do get a jump start on all those teams who are preparing for matches.
Yeah.
And we're no longer preparing for matches, and it's like we get a month head start of anybody who makes the final.
Right.
But if you live in the mindset that every season's an 18-month season, you're never not prepared for the following season. Because you're doing this the last 6 months. You're already working on the following season. So, like, we're already discussing next season.
Yeah.
And we've not even started this season. We're already discussing things we want to do next year that's going to make it better.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, that's the atmosphere and that's the culture we have, which is brilliant.
I love it.
Because then you always feel like you're challenged for something else. So
yeah,
enjoy it.
Yeah, the phrase "no finish line" stands true with you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love it. You're the team director of team operations, and the team administrator. And you're also known as the hype man. So we'll take the first two, director of team operations and team administrator. What exactly does a team admin do?
I just covered like a large variety of roles, and they just give the title of that. So as a team admin, generally it's liaison between the club and the league itself. So like roster submissions and registration for players, and then you're interacting with like other teams that, like, if you're traveling, then you say like, oh, we need training session at this time if possible, and that sort. And when they come to Oklahoma, just help them with that as well. But that kind of then just starts to overlap into what would you say was director of team operations, which you're doing like the scheduling and the travel and the flights and the hotels and the meals and player appearances, and you help with strategy of marketing at times, and you help with strategy of operations, and you kind of just connect the team itself to the entire club. You're like the link in it. So that's what I do.
It sounds like a lot of responsibility, man.
Yeah, I don't know why they still pay me to do it, to be fair.
Because you enjoy it so much.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love it so much, but
right.
I mean, it's a lot of responsibility to pass on to a person. I think I do a pretty decent job of it, so they rewarded me by keeping me. So
yeah. Well, when you say decent, I'm confused, because decent sounds like, I do an okay job. For me, I think it's a phenomenal job. Yeah. And I've asked a couple of the players about you, and they've even asked the head coach about you. So I asked them to describe you, and they've used words such as amazing, selfless, legendary, the positive energy bus driver. Phrases like that have come from the lads, if you will, that play on the team, and from the head coach. So, I mean, hats off to you.
Wow, I appreciate it. They're just nice to me. That's what it is. I pay them. That's why.
Well, nice is one thing. However, I do feel like they're authentic and genuine when they say that about you, man.
I appreciate them very much. I mean, I mean, it's like anything else. I just feel like I do the job that's I'm responsible for, and I do it to the best of my ability, and it just happens to be a job that I enjoy as well. I don't even call it a job. It's just a responsibility that I enjoy. It's fun when you get to just hang out with professional soccer players, and you just help them to be able to hopefully perform on the field as best you can. So
right.
I enjoy it. I love it.
Yeah. So your duties are scheduling and linking the club to USL, etc. With that being said, there are other things you do outside of just your day-to-day job. And I'll take myself, for example, as you've met me several times throughout the day, especially 6 o'clock, 6:15 in the morning for an early coffee just to catch up. So I will tell you that I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to just link up with me and have a cup of coffee and enjoy a conversation, or even fire back a text or a tweet. Man, I definitely appreciate that about you.
I love it
so much.
Like, I mean, it's positive energy, just keeps going back and forth, and I know every time we meet up, it's a great discussion, and it makes me feel energized for either the day or the week or whatever, knowing that you have a profound impact on me, and hopefully I have the same to you to also just create another positive energy vibe for the day. So it's living on a good vibration wavelength to achieve success regardless of what it is. So I get a good energy from it, so I enjoy it. I love it.
Your positive energy. Let's talk about when. I'm sure that your job gets stressful sometimes. Let's say a scheduling conflict. Let's say you have a bus scheduled and the buses aren't coming in, or a bus breaks down. So how do you deal with a stressed level event like that?
I don't know. I think I just internalize it all.
Yeah.
I try my best not to display it. I'm sure there's times where there are moments. There's certain players who can pick up on me when I'm kind of stressed, and there's certain people who can, and they poke fun at me, but they'll know when it's like a very serious matter or whatever. But I try to eliminate all the stress by just being over communicative with like all the buses and airline people and hotel staff and everything. Like, I just try to eliminate all of those stresses. I stress myself in order to like make sure I'm on top of that.
Yeah.
To then when it comes through, I'm not stressed.
Yeah.
Now obviously there's always certain issues like we were coming back from, I think it was RGV. Yeah, it was RGV, and like the plane would end up being delayed like 2-3 hours, but then we were going to miss our connecting flight, and then they didn't have what wound up happening is me standing in line waiting to talk to the airline people, and like people are worried about getting home, and how are they going to fit 24 people on a flight and like that sort. And you just have to figure it out, and I just deal with it, and I just know that it's important to make other people feel at least amount of stress as possible. So I just internalize most of it. But again, I'm so over or just on top of most of my jobs that I eliminate the possibility for error as best I can. Obviously, you can't rely on everybody, but some people make mistakes, or some people, maybe get something wrong. That I planned out to be right, I guess, if you want to say that. Like, we might get to a hotel, and let's say they have a rooming list that's old and not the new rooming list, and we get to, typically what will happen is like the players will have all their hotel keys there and whatnot, and grab their keys and go to the meal room or whatever. And let's say they're not prepared at the hotel. Well, it'll be like, no worries, lads, the keys will be in the meal room in 5 minutes. So they'll kind of just go there while I'm handling the situation to make sure everything's all right, or correct the situation. But yeah, I don't know, I just manage my job well enough, I think, that I try to eliminate all the potential big stressors. The little ones, the day-to-day nuances or whatever.
Absolutely.
They're going to happen. You just get used to
Yeah.
them.
Are you on the training grounds with the team when they're training?
Not when they're training. So typically what'll happen is I'll get to the training ground around 7 with the other staff. And it will be like help set up breakfast, or just hang out, and we'll have a meeting by 7:30 and just chat about what the day looks like, or what the week looks like, or what the next match looks like, or whatever schedule is coming up. So we'll chat about that, and then the guys will start rolling in around 8:15, 8:30, and then from 8:30 to 10 o'clock, I just chat with the guys and hang out and make sure everything's okay. And I'm the biggest rubbish talker, so I just make fun of guys and make them laugh and get them going for the day or whatever. And then once training starts, I leave. I'll usually go to a coffee shop and get the work done that needs to be done, and whatever the next match is, or food, or whatever it is. And then I'll go pick up food, bring it back to the training ground for the end of the session. On the road, I'll watch training. Sometimes I jump in like the rondos and 5v2s and hang out or chat with Steve, and Steve will like teach me something about, if he's coaching a point or whatever, he'll like talk to me about it and that sort. So I feel really connected with the stuff on the field anyway. So without being there as much, it's unfortunate, because I do enjoy the training aspect, and you can learn so much from players, and you can learn so much from coaches and whatnot. I just don't get the opportunity as much, but that's okay. So.
Well, from what I understand, the relationship of the team team administrator to the team, respectively, the club, and then the link to USL is super important. From what Coach Cook has mentioned to me several times, and talking about yourself, how committed you are, and how fortunate he feels that to have a hype man like yourself going on to recruiting, picking up players, taking players food. It's important, and it's the little things that I feel like makes the biggest impact on.
It is really everything's in the details. You just I just look at it. I get to hang out with a new person, or a person I like, and that's it. Like, I don't look at it as a job. I get to go. Oh, need to go get food, and then when I bring the food, I have a 15-minute chat with somebody. So I think it's enjoyable. So
right on, man. So obviously, you know that I am on Twitter and social media, and I went back to a tweet that you had a few months ago. Maybe it's probably about a couple months ago, but you tweeted something about Roy and Connor. So my thought is probably Roy Keane and Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Talk about them being heroes.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is obviously the UFC, and Roy Keane played for Ireland and Manchester United, big time player. And he talked about them being heroes. Well, during that conversation, your dad also said that you've been one of the greatest influences in the family's life. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I mean, I remember when he said it, and there was a weird feeling, honestly, with inside me, because obviously I look at them as massive inspirations, and I talk about them and how much success they've had, and when he kind of said that back to me, that I've been in inspiration as well. It was pretty cool it was a cool feeling. But because most of my life I've I don't know what the right word is. Most of my life I've justified the things I've done. So like moving around and traveling around and trying to get the right job and trying to get to the right opportunities and the right experiences and living the way I've lived. Because they've done it. They moved from a country to a new country,
right.
In order to make it successful for them. So I looked at that as an inspiration to me. Like, I can't settle, I can't stop. I could, but I'm not going to enjoy life that way.
Right.
So I remember when I initially left Pennsylvania and like took a job opportunity in New Mexico, I was just like, this is awesome, and like I'm going away, I'm going on my own and whatnot, and like there was difficult things that I had and sacrifice that I had to do in order to get to where I am today. But they're the massive inspirations because they do it every day. They live it. So
yeah,
I'm inspired by them, and if in turn I inspire them as well, that's I guess the most important thing. So
yeah, absolutely. You say your parents are immigrants. Where were they from originally?
They were born in Ireland.
Okay.
My dad was born in Dublin, and my mom. Well, we always make the joke about my mom where she was born. She was born in Kilkenny.
Okay.
But we'll always make the joke of who's winning or who's the better hurling team, Kilkenny or Waterford, because my grandmother lives in Waterford, and I've spent quite a bit of time there, and I live there as well. And if Waterford's doing better than Kilkenny, my mom's from Waterford that weekend, that's what. So we have a good laugh about it. But yeah, she was born in Kilkenny, which is close to the south coast of Ireland. So.
Oh, very good, man. Very good.
Yeah.
You're also training for a marathon, man. How's that going? Because you look fit. You look really good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's been an experience. It's really been more about challenging myself to improve in every aspect. Every week I try to take on some either new form of habits or change some habits or kill some bad habits, which has been great. Like changing a large part of my diet and improving and seeing whether one sort of nutritional plan works versus another nutritional plan works. And you have slip ups and whatnot, but it's been awesome. It's been a good experience, especially because like I used to be really fit and then I just completely lost fitness. And then now it's just like really going, I can do this. I'm forcing myself to do it.
Yeah.
The big one is essentially accepting that you don't have a choice. Like your life depends on it.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, my life depends on me being fit, so I'm going to do it. So,
right on, man.
Yeah. It's fun.
Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon.
Yeah.
26.2 miles, man.
Yeah.
You got this, right?
I'd like to think so. If I could do 13 miles, I think I can make the second round of 13.
Absolutely.
Like, if you just run 13 miles out, guess what? You have to run the 13 miles back. So
yeah.
That's what I think, You just got to run the rest back. So I don't know.
Oh,
it's such a terrible way to internalize it because like last week when I ran 13, right? But I never think of it as running 13. I ran 6.5 miles in one direction.
Yeah. Then
I ran 6.5 miles back in the direction I came from. So it was like, I only saw it as 6.5 miles. So I'm looking at the marathon the same way. I just run 13 miles and I run 13 miles.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's 2:13. That's easy. Come on.
I love it. You talk about habits. What are some of your morning habits now?
Big ones are I listen to some sort of inspirational message in the morning. So it's a video or on Instagram, read quotes and whatnot. Or and that's where I wake up. I know myself well enough, like when I'm in season, when the team's in season, you don't get much downtime.
Mm-hmm.
So like we don't have to be at the training center till 7, but I'll wake, and I live 3 minutes from the training ground. So like, but I'll wake up at 5, and the reason is to give myself till 6 where it's like quietness. It's the 1 hour where it's just like everything's relaxing. I don't have to worry about anything. Nobody's calling me or texting me or whatever. And so I almost do like mind numbing activities at that time where I like scroll through Twitter or scroll through Instagram or at that sort. And then once 6 o'clock kind of comes around is when I start listening to like some sort of inspirational messages from speakers, motivational speakers, that sort. So it really helps get the environment and the atmosphere of the day and the vibrations going well. So come 7 o'clock, you know, I'm going to be as ready as I can be on that day, you know. And some days you feel terrible and you're tired and you don't want to interact with people and whatnot, but you just got to get the right mindset. And it's easy when you're around good people then at 7 a.m. too.
Yeah.
If you're around miserable people, guess what? You're going to be miserable. But when you're around great people, you're just like, I get to go hang out with my friends today.
That's
people
true.
Pay us to do it.
That's true. That's very true. What if you have a couple of guys that come in and they have this, I got to be at training today, man, and this attitude, you know, how do you help them through that?
Thankfully, I don't see that on anybody.
Okay.
Obviously, people go through different periods in their lives, and you know, some people could be going through tough situations, and maybe there's that mentality of they come in and they're just like they're tired and they played a match and you know, maybe they didn't sleep well or whatnot. But like I said, I can kind of read the players and I can kind of read who wants to interact on that day and who doesn't, and like I'll let people warm up and maybe through conversation they'll start to liven up a tiny bit, if you will. But I know who the morning people are in the team and who aren't the morning people and whatnot. But in fairness, like I think most of the guys like this year, it's just I don't know, they're all great. Like we all hang out and we blast music and just make fun of each other. So it's fun.
Yeah, I see a lot of the players actually from the club being pretty active on social media.
Yeah.
You know, doing a lot of different things and talking to just anyone and just random people people like myself, you know.
Yeah, we're not random. You know most of us at this point.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, I think the guys are great at their interaction. You have to be at this point. Mm-hmm. We a lot of the time look at them as soccer players, professional soccer athletes or professional soccer players who are professional athletes and whatnot, but they're just the most normal people. They like, I actually forget and like sometimes refuse to believe they're professional soccer players or athletes. There's days where I'm an absolute fanboy, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's like, I know that they're just normal people and they do normal things and they make normal mistakes and whatnot. I think the hardest part about my job is like trying to be the hype man sometimes with him. I'm just like, he's just like a normal dude. Like, why are you guys so impressed? Like, he picks his nose like the rest of you. Come on. You know, they're normal people to me. So
yeah, they are. So they're normal humans, just like us. It's a different type of mindset, though. A different level that I'm on, anyways. I mean, I can't go out there.
But you're looking at I want to say a social aspect.
Yeah,
they're held to a higher standard. We actually had this last week where it was Steve, Danny, Alexi, and myself. And we're having a chat about something, and I had brought up, you know what, we were in Missouri last week, and and we were having breakfast, and I said something like, I mentioned it to Danny and Alexi, and I went, I'm going to be honest, guys, I have no idea how you guys have relationships in your jobs, and they were like, what do you mean? And I was just like I can't do it. Like I don't have a relationship with anybody because like I have so much to do with my job, and it's almost like I couldn't imagine you have like a wife and kids and you are traveling every other week and like you're always on your phone and you're always planning for the next session and you always have a lot on your plate, and then on top of that you're trying to facilitate a very healthy marriage or relationship or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And I made the remark, I was just like, we're not human. Like we're not. So in the social aspect, I think people in our field are held to a higher standard. But like, we're also like the things we do, where we give up sleep and we give up family time, and we move around the country, and we live in this high stress environment where one mistake you could be fired and like and whatnot. It's inhumane,
right?
Almost,
yeah.
Which is not in the bad sense. It's just like that's the standard that you're living to and you choose to live to. So it's, I don't know, it's
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing how you and the staff and the players deal with it, and I really, really like the organic authenticity of the group.
Yeah.
Just as a collective whole, I think you guys are doing an amazing job. So.
We appreciate it, and like, I know every team will say this going in. We have a really great culture, and we have we feel, but like I feel it with these guys.
Yeah.
Like I feel it with the staff. I feel like there's just amazing things happening within this club, and it is genuine. It is authentic. It's not made up. It's guys really wanting to make something of themselves and make the city proud and make the club proud and make the supporters proud. Like, but you genuinely feel it with them, which is it's very unique.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like I think Steve's done a brilliant job in creating that.
Yeah, that's the perfect word, is creating it.
Yeah.
Creating that culture.
Yeah.
Right on.
100%. You create the culture. So
yeah.
He's done a brilliant job. We just follow it and hopefully improve it, and if he needs us to or whatnot. But the guy's accountability and responsibility for upholding the culture, if you want to also call it that, is brilliant. So there's the right people there to do it. So
speaking of culture, greatness, etc., you are creating this chasing greatness culture. Talk to me about chasing greatness.
I think it really started as just, I don't want to say a catchphrase or a life philosophy, if you want to call it that. And it was just like what the things I wanted to do in life were great things. So then I thought to myself, it's like I'm chasing these great things, chasing greatness, and like so it started a long time ago. But mentally, I knew like that was. If I really want to do great things, I gotta chase it. I gotta chase it. Which is potentially could be the wrong mentality too. When you think you're not achieving it, you're just chasing it. You'll never get things that you just chase, right? But it became like this mantra of going after great things. So essentially, I turned it into a brand, and we're gonna have like a lifestyle, but it's more of that mantra of portraying how you live. And I turned it into this brand because I know there's other people who live that way. So, it's a way to join this community of people who are really trying to strive for great things. And it's the people who are hungry and wake up in the morning and stay up late and grind it out because they want to achieve these magnificent. So it's really just that. And I enjoy it. And it's like, it's something new. It's something away from soccer. It's something where I know I can connect people, which is something I enjoy and inspire people if that's what it is. And so it just kind of came to me. I went, how can I, without sounding like I'm self-prophesizing or whatever, how can I link people who adopt this mentality? So, I mean, I enjoy it. So.
I love it, man. Sign me up on that train because I'm going to take it.
Good.
Yeah, for sure, man. What are a couple things that people don't know about Padriac?
I don't know. I'm pretty vocal about myself.
Are you?
I think so. I don't know. I'm a normal person. I just operate at high vibration, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I enjoy reading. I enjoy like writing. I enjoy listening. I enjoy the social aspect of life. There's not much to me. I don't think anyway.
Yeah.
So,
what are a couple questions that you wish people would actually ask you, but they don't ever ask?
So I've really thought about this. I know, like, before when we actually had this conversation, I was just like, I wish people would just ask, how are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
how are you feeling today? Like, how, what's going on in your mind almost. I think that's probably one, but I also know myself well enough that I wouldn't open up that much to people. So it's like they could ask me and I'd be like, yeah, everything's great, everything's going well,
Right.
working hard and achieving this and doing this and
Yeah.
whatnot. But the reality is that I have to be really comfortable with someone and trust someone well enough to really kind of open up about that. So I do, if it's a genuine connection with the person, like, I'll open up about that stuff. If it's like a a generic based conversation, then I'll just everything's great. So but I think that's probably it. Like, I can't think of many other things. Like, you want to, again, it goes back to like the almost the inhumane part of trying to go after big things and being successful, is kind of sheltering your feelings and sheltering your inner emotions and just cutting them off, or internalizing them and just saying, I'm not going to listen to my feelings. I'm not going to listen to my emotions. I'm not going to listen to my body tell me I'm tired. I'm just going to do it. And that kind of transforms to all aspects. It's no different than training for the marathon. You just go, I'm not listening. Like, I'm just going to do it. So if somebody did ask me, how are you doing? Like, I evaluate who this person is and what level of communication I can have with this individual. And then that'll almost determine, like, do I open up the emotions that I actually have and the feelings I actually have about things. But I'd say that's probably it. But I would also say, like, you'd have to be a really close person. That would get the real answer of that. But I'd say that's probably it,
Yeah. I'm curious, when you go and shake someone's hand or you give them a hug, bro hug, or whatever type of hug, do you feel a certain vibe with that person? Or can you feel a certain energy?
Yes. But I think most people do. I think some people just don't attune to it. But I can usually tell, like, somebody walking through the door, if they're going to feel some, like, how they're feeling. But most people, I think, can. But I get a good feeling. Like, I know when you're around some people long enough, you just know straight away. You could just see their face and you're going, they're not in it today. Or you see them and they're like, oh, this is going to be a great chat today. I know we're going to have a good conversation. So, I mean, with people I'm around a ton, I'll know. I'll pick up on their frequency, if you want to call it that.
Yeah,
quickly.
it's true.
So, I mean, it's all, we all have these innate abilities to pick up on energies of people, and with most of the guys I can. But it all depends, again, if I want to listen to other people that maybe not a part of the team and just random people, where I'll have a sense of where they're probably at. But I think most people are on the same wavelength, if you want to think about it. But everybody's going through struggles. Everybody has happiness. Everybody has sadness. So you can figure out which one they're giving off on that day, based on interactions, based on watching their movements or actions or whatever. So but I mean, most of the time you can also, like, if I want, like, liven that person up, because of the handshake or the touch or the hug or whatever, you can also, like, give them some of your energy. So so it all depends on what you need out of them or whatnot, or if you can help them achieve what they need to achieve. So
I like it, man. So OKC Energy FC aside, your work aside, how do you contribute to society?
I think a lot of it is through, like, the messaging I put online and social media, and that's because I'm working a lot, so it's like my interaction is like the positive energy that I'm putting out to people, I think. Whether that's the Chase Greatness brand, or whether that's sending out tweets or whatnot. I think my contribution, like, one of the positive affirmations, if you want to call that, for this year, one of my big things is I want to do is I want to inspire and provide knowledge to anybody who seeks it. So I think that's kind of where that goes. I want to, through my actions and through my work, inspire people to recognize that if they put in the same work and they put in those actions, they can achieve the things that they want to achieve. So I think that is my contribution of to society, to be honest. But it's through my work, so it's not really anything outside of it. Like, my work is the majority of my life, so I just use that as a platform to hopefully inspire people.
Yeah, no, I like that, and I can feel the positive energy actually every time we meet or we talk, even through a text message. You can tell, because I've had the personal interactions with you face to face, and it helps a lot. You talked about frequencies. I agree. Your tone, your body language is a frequency.
Yeah.
And what you're giving off is what I'm taking in. So I was like, dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
and that's why
awesome.
I love sitting down with you, because you always bring the best out of me, because I know it's got to be a positive interaction. You know? I leave the negative stuff at home by myself. So
there's no need to keep sharing it with the world. I mean, you rationalize it, analyze it, and how can you move forward without bringing others down?
Yeah,
right. It's too easy to bring others down if you wanted to.
Yeah, and everybody has negative energy and negative thoughts and negative feelings.
Absolutely.
But and again, it goes back to the inhumane thing of, you just don't bring them out. There are certain people where, like, I will bring it out too, because I trust them and I know that they'll reverse it for me. You know,
yes.
They'll like Danny Stone, who's the assistant coach for the Energy. Me and him have great conversations. You know, I'll go over to his for a cup of tea and whatever, and I might vent about a lot of things. But I know it's almost that springboard to just, he's someone I can open up to, and leave the negativity out, because he's not going to take the negativity on board. He's going to help me through whatever process that's making me feel negative. But I mean, everybody has a negative side to them and negative thoughts. You have to determine whether you're going to emotionalize them or not. But you need somebody. I tried my best to leave that at home, but sometimes you live in your own head and try not to let it out.
I feel like you should be the team therapist too, man. Because I'm just here and listening, taking this. I was like, man, dude, you're right on.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
I mean, I think just conversation is therapy.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's true. I'm the same way, man. There's times I have negative thoughts. I'm like, oh my gosh. But then my wife, well, she's a springboard. She listens to me and then she reverses it. And so yeah, man.
You need people in order to do this thing. So like my parents, like I can vent to about certain things, but not everything, right? Because they wouldn't understand. There's things they don't understand about my job, or there's things that they don't understand about my life or my personal life or whatever. They can only give me their thoughts of maybe, right? And then there's other people who do know a lot about my job and do know a lot about the stress of my job that can help me through it. So there's I have those people where if I need them, they're great people to go to. And they help me out a lot. So Steve is another great one as well that I can go to if I'm, not feeling something is right, or someone who he also positively affirms me a lot with a lot of things. If I need help or I'm saying, I really think this should be done this way, and he'll be like, "You're right, go do it." So you get that positive affirmation then from him. So I have the right people in the right places.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah.
And speaking of Coach Cook, he actually texts me every once in a while, or he'll return my personal text messages to him. I think it's awesome. He actually called me on the phone last week.
Nice.
I think he was on the way home from Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he call you about? He said he wanted to thank you for the Christmas the New Year card, Chinese New Year card.
I was like, what the heck, man?
You know what? The amazing thing is he kept it in his pocket from the day you gave it. I can't remember. Was it a Monday?
Yeah. Yep.
From that Monday, he kept it in his pocket to remind himself to call you.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was brilliant. And then I actually saw it. He had it the other day, and I was like, I wonder if he's called him yet. So.
Well, he has.
Yeah.
So, Coach, thank you.
Yeah. He obviously wanted to. It was important to him. So.
Yeah.
And I know he was thankful for it. So all the guys were. So.
That's great. In your life, I am certain, from our conversations, you've been through setbacks and moments that have defined you or you've defined them. Would you mind, if you're willing to, share with our listeners maybe some setbacks or moments that you had to go through in your life, and how did you conquer them, or who helped you along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably one of the big ones that's changed the course of my life, I'll say, in a very good way. was when I was a senior in high school, right? So I was going through a difficult patch with soccer, and I wasn't playing as much, and I wasn't starting on the high school team and whatnot. And my mom gave me the book The Secret, based on the law of attraction, right? So I read that book, and it was all about manifestation of your imagination, essentially, which I didn't really. I thought it was a really good book.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this is like really cool. Like, I don't know if I believe this, but you know what, whatever, I'll give it a try, right? So then, and I still remember, so that what the author had said was, think of something that you want to happen today, right? And like really imagine yourself doing it and emotionalize it, and the feeling that you'll have when you do it, and or get it or receive it or whatever it is, something that you can get on that day, right? So I had said that day we were playing against Freedom High School, and I'll never forget it. And I said, like, I know I'm not starting today. However, when I come on, I want to score. Like, and I mentally thought of myself scoring and celebrating, because I love celebrating goals, right? So I really like emotionalized it, and my second touch, I scored.
Nice.
And it was brilliant. And Freedom were one of the top teams in the state, right? I mean, it's high school soccer, but the emotionalization of it, and then recognizing that it worked, set my life forward. Once I realized that you really can achieve the things that you want to achieve if you really put your mind and soul and heart into it, it can bring out great things. And so that was like a big moment. Now, did I always use that? No, because you forget about it, right? And when I went to college, then it was I think it was my junior year. It was my junior year. No, maybe junior year, whatever. I was playing, and I would start some games and not play some games, and I thought it was good enough, but looking back, I probably wasn't. But I worked really hard and whatnot to try and improve myself every day, and I knew I put more work in than anybody. But we were playing. It was a homecoming game, and we weren't playing a very good team. I subbed on, and I remember I took a corner kick, ball got cleared out, the other team went down and scored, and I got subbed off. So I was on the field, I think, like 2 minutes.
Yeah, you went on, took the corner kick.
I swear it felt about 30 seconds. And so we got scored on anyway, and I got subbed off, and I just started questioning everything. I was just going, what is going on here? Like, I was upset about it, obviously. And, at that point, you're 20 and you have a dream of playing professional soccer, and you're recognizing that it's not working, and it's not as if I was playing at some big Division I university. I was playing in Division III school, and we were very good. But I remember I go into the dressing room, whatever, and I literally stood in the shower for about an hour and a half. Wow. And it was a tough one, but it was the thing I needed, right? So then I remember thinking to myself, the first thoughts initially, I'm done, I'm quitting. I don't want to do this. Why am I putting myself through this much stress and pressure and pain and whatnot? But I also forgot about the law of attraction and forgot about, you're manifesting your own dream. So if you're thinking somebody's going to be negative towards you about the situation, and somebody's not going to, I don't want to say give, but somebody's not going to grant you the opportunity to do it, guess what? It's not going to happen. You're only manifesting yourself. If you feel negative towards the situation is going to feel negative towards you. If you feel positive to it, it'll be positive to you. So I essentially, by the hour and a half or whatever, I just went, you know what, I'm going to do this. And I needed it, but it was a big moment again, because then as the season progressed, we went into the NCAA tournament. I wound up playing in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and I did really well, and I played really well. And from that moment forward, I knew, I just got to put in more work and more work and more work, and I'm going to get what I want going into the next season. And I was one of the top players on the team, and did well, and had opportunities to kind of progress throughout. I wound up getting my master's degree and trialing, and I wound up on preseason with a professional team.
Very nice.
Beyond that, so it was probably those two big moments really shaped what I've become, and then before this job, I was living in Arizona and I didn't really have a job, and I was paying my friend $200 a month to essentially live with him and his fiance.
Yeah.
And I wound up having to rehome my dog that I had, and like that became this like emotional roller coaster where I thought like nothing's panned out, right? So I thought I was going to get a U23 position within the PDL as a head coach, and I felt very confident about it, and didn't work out. So then like my life just started kind of spiraling a tiny bit, and what I thought was essentially rock bottom in the grand scheme of things was just the rock to then progress me forward, because that 6 to 8 weeks where I didn't know what I was going to do with my life.
Yeah.
Again, because I didn't get the head coaching job I wanted. I was applying to a ton of college jobs, couldn't get any of them. And I was really passionate about coaching. I'm going, this should be a lot easier. Like if this is what I'm really meant to do, like I should be doing it.
Yeah.
But nothing seemed to open. And then I wound up getting the job with the Energy through a connection actually who was a head coach before with the Albuquerque Soul. So I was his assistant, and like he knew Danny Stone and Steve Cook, and they wound up connecting over this job that I have now. And essentially then a couple weeks later I was here, and I'd moved here, and I was just like, but the pain of not having a job, I did door-to-door cell phone sales for 2 days.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take it. I applied for a finance internship. I was like, maybe I need to change fields. A finance internship, and I have a master's degree, and I didn't get it. And I was just like, what is going on here? And I wound up coming here. And then the reason I'm so passionate about what I've done and what I do is because I know what it's like to not do it as well.
Yeah.
And that's a tough place to be in.
Yeah.
And I could have sat back and I could have been comfortable, and I was in Pennsylvania before Arizona, and I had a job working with New York Red Bulls and their community academy, essentially, if you want to call it that. And it was fun, and I could have stayed there, but the thing is, I wasn't like ultimately passionate about that side of coaching. Like I really like the college age kids. I really like professional players.
Yeah.
So it was, again, it goes back to like, am I going to settle for this and maybe hope somewhere down the line I reach the right connection, or am I going to, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad, but because it's not what I really want to do. Am I going to try and take a risk somewhere else? Which is what I ultimately decided to do. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you know Coach Cook or Coach Stone prior to the Energy?
No, I knew of Steve.
Yeah.
Obviously, when he got the interim job with Colorado Rapids.
Yeah.
Matt Gordon, who was the head coach of the Albuquerque Soul, who again helped me connect here. He had mentioned him. He was like, "Oh, did you see Pablo Mascheroni? He was the head coach before, and he wound up getting fired." And Steve got the job. So then I think Matt like retweeted one of Steve's tweets. So then I started following Steve on Twitter because of that. Now I didn't know Danny. So I was already following Steve on Twitter, and obviously I followed the MLS at the time. So
yeah,
I kind of just got comfortable with it, and then that's how I knew. That's how I knew of Steve.
Yeah.
And then eventually, obviously, started working with him, and I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, I followed this guy on Twitter. Like, he's
and how
cool. He coached in the MLS.
Yeah, now I'm working for him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now he's my boss. He just yells at me.
He just
yells at me all the time. No, I'm just messing.
Yeah, I don't think he yells at you all the time.
Yeah.
Were you? So you were in Arizona when you got the phone call from? Was it Coach Cook?
Yeah.
What was going through your mind when you received the call from this dude, this coach?
Well, I knew it was going to happen. Well, I kind of did, because when Matt Gordon reached out to me, he was like, Steve Cook and Danny Stone reach out asking about someone who would be a team admin. Would you be interested in that position? I said, yeah. He's like, good, because I told them that you might be.
Yeah.
Can you send me your resume and I'll forward it on to him? I said, absolutely. Sent him the resume. So I want to, and Matt had said, he might call you. And then when the phone call came through, and like I was literally like on edge, like sitting next to my phone for about 2 days. because I wasn't doing anything. So it was almost like I needed this.
Love it.
So the phone call came, and then it's like, "Hi, is this is this Padriac, Patty? This is Steve Cook, Oklahoma City Energy." I went, "Hi, Steve. How are you?" Like, I think I was driving at the time too. And he was just like, "Brilliant, pal. How's everything? Good, good, good." He was like, "Look, listen, I have this position here. I heard you might be interested. Here's what I'm looking for. Here's what you'd have to do. Here's blah, 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 blah." And I went, "Yep, absolutely." I had no job. Like, I was taking anything at that point. And it was an opportunity at professional soccer, which is what I wanted. And I said to him, I was like, "Look, will I be around the team? Will I be around training? Will I be around matches? Yes, you can have all access to all of that. You can watch training." I said, "Brilliant, I'm in." And he goes, "All right, well, how long, what's your job situation? How long would it take you to get here?" And I said, "Well, it'll take me about 2 days to drive, so I can be there, like, I want to say, like, I could be there Sunday if you really need." And he was like, "Well, you have to interview for the job and whatnot." So, so it wound up being like a week or whatever. And then the second week I was on my way.
Yeah.
I was just like, packed the car, which wasn't much. It was literally like the laundry in the back seat and like on my way, because I didn't own anything. I had my laptop.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I didn't really.
That's phenomenal.
Didn't have much, so I was on the way.
Speaking of Padriac, that's how when I first saw your name, I was like, I wonder, that's probably how I would say it.
Yeah.
Until I met you, and I was like, hey, how do I say your name?
Yeah, well, it's Padriac.
Yeah.
I think I'm named after my uncle. His name is Padriac too, so I'm going to imagine that's probably why.
Yeah.
I never really ask. I don't ask my parents like many things about like growing up. Like, I don't even know how my parents met. Like, I don't know how long they've been together. I don't know how long they've been married. Like, I can't even tell you how old they are. But I don't care. Like, that's their history. Like, whatever.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Just like, they're my parents. Like, why do I need to know all that?
Yeah. I'm interested in this. Going through your interview process here, who did you interview with, and how are the personalities?
So I guess the initial one would have been with Steve on the phone, because Steve would have known right away if I was right or not.
True.
Right candidate or person. And ultimately, I'd be the one. He'd be dealing with me a ton. So obviously, I would say the first interview, and then after that, we had the president, who was Jeff Ewing, and him and Mindy and MJ. Mindy's the VP, and MJ was the human resources director. I don't know. I think she's kind of phased out to retirement. I still see her around sometimes, but so it was them pretty much around the table, and it was a Skype interview, so that's what it was.
Skype interview.
Yeah.
So video too?
Yeah, video. So I wore my suit.
I was going to ask you, what did you wear?
I wore a suit. There was a table, no pants, just a suit top. No. I fully wore the suit in case I had to stand up at some point. But I have heard things, like, I have jokingly like seen things like that. Do you ever see the ones where they're like, people are on TV?
Yes.
And they just have the suit and they're wearing like boxers.
Yeah.
And that's it. And people are like, "Oh my God, they dress really well. They have nothing from the waist down."
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking about doing it, but I didn't.
How's it working with Coach Danny Stone?
Brilliant. Love him. Yeah, he's a great dude. He's very hardworking. He's very dedicated. He's a very balanced person. You never see him get too high or too low or whatever. But my favorite things about Danny is like being away from soccer and like just chatting and like talking about life and music. He loves music, and like we've gone to a concert with him and his new fiance, and we're going to another one. We hang out. We just like chat. We chat about life. We chat about soccer. We chat about growing up. So he teaches me a lot. So I love the dude.
Speaking of life, what do you enjoy about life?
Being alive.
Yeah.
I mean, what's better than that?
Love it, man.
You get to experience the things you want to experience. I enjoy going to coffee shops. I enjoy eating food. I enjoy good weather. I enjoy traveling. So I mean, it's just, I don't know, just enjoy all of it.
Yeah. This makes a lot of sense to me, man. When you talk about visualization and emotionalization, that book your mom gave you. So you scored in your second touch in high school.
Yeah.
You went from taking a corner kick or subbing on, taking a corner kick, getting scored on within less than a minute and a half. You're getting subbed off.
Yeah.
Staying in the shower for an hour and a half, and then you decided, I gotta grind. I gotta get through this, and I gotta push myself. And in college, you don't play. Just like you don't have competitive matches 12 months of the year. There's only certain months. So your grind in your off season, your downtime, you worked out on your own, I would assume?
Yeah, a ton.
Yeah.
I was very, very dedicated and committed to getting better. I was in college from my freshman year on. I was training with a local club. So once the off season happened, I was training with Lehigh Valley United, and from their under 14s all the way through their under 18s, and so I'd train an hour and a half, 2 hours with them. That was mainly my freshman year, and then going into like the spring part of my freshman year, like the executive director of the club, he had morning training sessions for, I think it was like U12s through U16s or whatever it was, or U14s. You come in at 5, I think it was 5:45 in the morning, whatever, and I was showing up to him. Me as a college kid, and these like under 12s, and they were doing these footwork patterns and and like I couldn't do them. I was just like, what are these kids learning? Because I didn't grow up with an academy. Like
Right.
I played rec, I played like club. I wasn't like this massive club soccer person that it is now. My parents did the best they could to get me to the places that they needed to get me, and that's all that mattered. But these kids were so clean technically and stuff. So I essentially was training with them in the morning, and then training with the teams in the evening, and then through my junior year, I would, like, come the springtime, you'd be up like early and get to the gym around 7, and if it was depending on the day and what the class schedule was and stuff, like I could be training for like 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, and then we obviously have the spring training, but like I played it for an NPSL club. We'd have our college training, let's say 4 to 6 or 4 to 5:30 or whatever, or 3 to 4:30, and then I would hop in a car and drive an hour north to then go train with this NPSL team. So I would do that, and I was doing that 3-4 times a week, and which I really enjoyed, and like it was just the grind of getting better, and I was putting as many hours onto the field as possible. And then after my senior year, and when I was flying through my senior year, it was like I was scoring goals, I was assisting, I was an all conference player and whatnot, and I my routine was get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and my dad was working nights, so he was getting home at that time, and then we'd have breakfast, and then I'd go to the gym. Again, depending on the day, I might get like a Tuesday, Thursday. I wouldn't have class until, let's say, 8:30 or 9 or whatever it was, or 10. I'd be like smashing a ball against a wall for like an hour and a half, and getting many touches, and doing speed work and agility work, and then I would have class, and then after class I would go train and play 2v2s and whatnot, and then in the evening I'd go train with a team, like a youth team, or I'd go play indoor, or I'd grab friends and we'd play. Like I was a machine with it because I was just so passionate about it. Everything was dedicated to it. So it was great. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like it was work. So I was putting in like 4 sessions a day. But the strides I made in a very short amount of time were brilliant because of it.
That's amazing. Then you get educated, you got this master's program or a master's degree, and then you couldn't find a job. You even went to try to be a financial intern, couldn't even land that. Laying on a couch in Arizona, paying your friend $200 a month to stay there, looking for something, and then you get the phone call.
Yeah.
And now I have the privilege to sit across the table from you, man.
Yeah.
It's
if it weren't
phenomenal.
for Steve Cook, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's absolutely right.
So
maybe we should get Coach Cook on the podcast.
I think so too.
Yeah.
He'd be brilliant for it. He's a great talker too. So and he has great stories. We did a podcast a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We had a brilliant time, and he's just full of knowledge and inspiration and like energy, and
that's true.
He's just a brilliant human being.
That's
I
true.
don't care about Steve the soccer coach.
Yeah.
He can be Steve the soccer coach at his own time. I care about him as a person. Like, he's brilliant.
Absolutely. I could tell the energy, literally in a sense, no pun intended, from just sitting across the table from him, sharing a coffee and tea with them is phenomenal.
I'm telling you, there is very few places that have the people working for it like we do with this team. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I've never experienced anything like it. Like, we are all operating at such a high level. I'm going to imagine most professional soccer teams and coaching staffs do operate that way. But again, it goes back to the inhumane ways in order to get that position.
Yeah.
That you kind of have. You're naturally like you're not going to find lazy people, I think, coaching soccer. I would think.
Right.
But I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
So,
what's a path forward for you? Maybe are you looking to be a general manager, technical director, or coach? It sounds like you'd be amazing at all three. What's your path forward, though?
To be honest, I want to experience all of them.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what it feels like to be in every single position and every single role. And like, I want to be, I can tell you where eventually I do want to end up position wise. Is now I'm drawing the blank, obviously. I want to be a sporting director.
Yeah.
Which kind of oversees the academy and the first team and
Okay.
whatnot. And the reason I want to is because I want to be able to like lay a foundation for an entire club to go forward and see how the academy system works into the first team and have a common identity. What's really in the fabric of the team and the DNA of the team, go from under 8s all the way through and through the coaching staff, and through the staff itself. And so I want to be a sporting director as a position wise. And not only there, I want to be the best sporting director. I want to be like known for it. Just be like, this guy. He's just done unbelievable things. He's built a culture and a philosophy, and he's built a club and a fan base, and he connects with everybody, and a great coaching staff, and he promotes the right people, and like just to have that big vision of a successful. Like you look at Barcelona, and there's obviously issues in Barcelona as a football club, but at the end of the day, you go, they've consistently done things really well. You look at Ajax, whether they were winning the Champions League or not, they've consistently over decades have been producing some of the top players.
Absolutely
and putting
right.
a competitive team together. So it's like, why can't I do that too?
Yeah.
Why can't I be a part of that? Obviously, it wouldn't just be me, right? You need the right owners, and you need the right people, and you need the right coaching staff, and you need the right foundation, you need the right facilities. All that's part of it. But positionally, I'd love to be a sporting director. I like the bigger vision, but again, also having an impact on everybody within the club, and from youth kids all the way through.
Love it, man.
As a coach, that'd be great to experience, because like the day-to-day grind of on the field, I love being on the field. I love. There's something about just weird things of soccer. Like if you think about the game itself, it's really dumb. It's 22 people running around. There's one ball. And you have all these great ideas of like people moving and shifting, and like this is how you beat them, and like, oh, you're just going, this is the dumbest thing, and I love it.
Yeah.
So there's that, and like I don't know, it really is dumb when you actually put to sense what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
But it's really enjoyable. So I want to experience that, but I also want like have the success in that, and there's certain things of being a part of a coaching staff is like the highs of winning and success, because you're a part of it. And then there's obviously like the GM side of it, where you're like, there's a lot more, let's say, player negotiations and contracts, and the coach coming to you and go like, we need this player. Can you like figure out a way to get him here? And then you execute on it.
Yeah.
And like, there's the buzz of it, right? So in my role, I get the buzz from like the weird things, like getting everybody to the airport on the exact schedule that I put together.
Yeah.
And everybody's gone through security, and we got on the plane. We get to the destination, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, come on! And like I get
when your goal celebrations.
Yo, you have no idea. It's like I get so amped up when things operationally run smooth.
Yeah.
I get a buzz from it. It's like because that's the moment where everything, like all your work, is being done.
Yeah.
So all the lack of sleep and text messages and emails and whatnot, you could, that's right, I did it again. I'm the man. That's your moment. That's your moment that you feel like good. So you have to find something that that if you're in a job and you don't get that feeling, quit the job.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Man, that's so true. Dude.
You have to have that feeling at some point. Like there has to be an end to everything.
Yeah.
Right. So like an end point where you're either measured on success or failure.
Yeah.
So if we get to a hotel and they don't have the rooming list, and there's no food or something.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, that doesn't happen.
Right.
But like, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
And like, that's like losing.
Yeah.
But when you really like, when everything is right, nothing will always be right. But when you just get the feeling like, You know,
I love that.
That's
man.
a great feeling.
That's so awesome. I've experienced that feeling at work. So I'm in an engineering side and I'm building this analytical model and I get my formulas right. And it's a huge victory for me, man. So I'll get out of my office and I'll go high five my colleague right down the road from me, two doors down. I'll go in his office. Hey, Jeremy, we did it, man. He's like, what did we do? I was like, this QC, it's starting to work. Everything's tying.
Yeah.
And he'll just kind of look at me. I was like, come on, man.
You're weird. Why would you do that? Why would you be happy that you had success? But that's the thing, is like there has to be that. Why would you do a job? So you have to, like, whatever the job is, you have to figure out what that moment's going to be, what the buzz is going to be for you.
Yeah.
And like that's it. That goes back to the experiences of like, yeah, I'd love to be GM, I'd love to be a coach, because there's a different buzz to it, but it's all around soccer. If you ask me to be the marketing person of a club, like I can never be the marketing person because like there's no buzz for it. There's no like, I like the field, like. I get life from the field because it's given me so much. It's given me opportunities to travel around the country, the world, like everything. Like it's a dumb game played by 22 and shorts, like 22 men in shorts running around, grown men, and I love it. It's weird. I don't know.
Oh man, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
How does Pork want to be remembered?
Definitely just someone who's inspiring to other people. You know, passes on knowledge or you know what have you, what you need. Just be somebody who's there to kind of help with what you need. Yeah. Whether that's listening to you, just need somebody to vent to, and I'm that person, or you need some advice, and I can be that person, and someone who genuinely cares, and somebody who just like has an unbelievable work ethic, and you can sit back and go, this dude like has it. Like, I get such good feelings from him, and like I know that person, if I ever needed that person, he's there for me. Yeah. I think that's kind of where I like to be remembered. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody just inspiring to other people.
Yeah. So, I'll remember you like that.
Well, I appreciate
that's for certain, man. You've taken time out of your day from the first time we had coffee till current, and I will willing to bet that you do it as far as long as I'm alive. So. Yeah.
I hope so.
I definitely appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
How do people get in touch with you?
Obviously, I'm pretty active on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, what's your handle on Instagram?
I have no idea. I think it's Pad the Lad. Yeah, it's Pad the Lad.
Yeah, I think so. At Pad the Lad.
Yeah. And then Twitter is my name. Yeah. Padriac Farrell, but there's 3 L's at the end.
Yeah. So it's at, and then you have to spell your name.
At Padraic. Farrell, Farrell. L. Yeah. I put 3 L's because my like name wasn't on it. Yeah. Wasn't available or whatever. So yeah, on Instagram, Pad the Lad, which is my nickname, Pad the Lad. Yeah. So
Pad
the Lad.
Pad the Lad, I like it. Well, we'll be rooting you on this whole entire season, chasing greatness for sure. You as a person, man, we believe in you, brother.
I appreciate it. So
yeah. Thanks for your time, man. All right.